I'm back with the part two. I'm hoping there isn't a part three, not like I don't want to do the reading, but for this video, I'm going to drop some lore on some childhood, I guess teenage, maybe young adult type of parts of my life, and I have things that connect to the reading, and I was going to do this reading a little sooner. I am at my brother's place. I didn't see him yet. He actually let me through the door remotely because he has one of those doorbell things that you could do that with, and the locks, and you put your code. I have my code now, or I've had one before. So, um, it's been like 2 days and I'm here. Um, I couldn't find, well, I knew that I packed the deck in the main bags, but I had to go back to the car to get this deck out of another bag. Speaking of bags, I'm gonna try to make this a little quicker, but there's another bag. I love the baby roll illustrations. I think they're so sweet. It matches with my other tote project bag that I recently got. There was like an all pink one, but I thought that the pink, well, the pink was a different pink, and I was just like in a mood for that. So, just the last thing before I get into it. So, the bed is large, and it's kind of funny because, so don't judge me. I didn't completely like do the bed. I just kind of threw stuff on the bed because this is the spare room and it was hard to get to the area where the bed sheets and blankets are. This thing here is like a comfy, like a snuggie type of thing, and I think I might take it. So, and then I'm just laying on the bed, the I guess what would be considered the wrong way, because I don't mind like smaller spaces like to sleep because I'm used to it. I've also slept in like slept in standard or larger beds because my other bed was larger, but I'm gonna, Adrian, focus. So, one of the main things, well, that came up today was it was out of nowhere too, and it wasn't like coming to mind anytime soon. It came up, it was specific. It was like a message that, like, in my head, that was like speak. But when the message came, it was like, I'm hoping I'm saying this right. It came out like Rose Movlayu, and I remember that because of my Ukrainian studies. Um, yeah, Rose Movlayu Trohe. I hope that was correct. And um, so I feel like there was like a push to do this reading. Also, the other words that were coming up were like magic school bus, which is interesting because I have mentioned that I went to. I'm probably gonna do a part three. Like I don't know, but when I was in high school, I went to this public school for like a month, and I didn't get expelled, but like I guess the last week that I was there, I got sent to the principal's office, and then it wasn't soon after where I went back to my original school that I was at. And then I don't know if it was like around the same time or like the same year, but Magic School Bus, there was like a person, I believe, that went to the school that I transferred back, like, well, that I was at, and then transferred back to the original school. And I remember that, like, this person was like a fucking magician, because the person did like magic tricks. And the was it in my grade? There was a person in my grade that liked to hang out with the magician, and I wasn't close to this person. So that's just what I've heard, because people tell me things, and it's just like one of those memories. But with this, it does kind of feel like magic, and these two are very, I think, intense energies to have, with the King of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. These are extra cards. I was going back to the other reading to make sure I remembered the layout of it. And with the King of Cups, with the Knight of Pentacles, it does feel like a fruitfulness or like a harvest, with the with the King of Cups being surrounded by wheat. And there, it seems like a longevity, because it does take a while for these crops to grow and for you to put like the TLC into it. And with the Knight of Pentacles, it furthers this commitment, and there's like a tenderness and a longing. There just seems like there's time, that even if time has passed, there's a possibility that the heart grew fonder and stronger in a way. And the Magic School Bus, like, it does talk about, the actual TV series, where you do learn these things and you're going on these like adventures and finding the scientific mystical discoveries of life. So there does seem like to be a quirkiness or funness about it. So there could be like personality traits that are more specific. Of course, everyone is unique, but there's just like there's specific types of like things that this person does. It could be the way that they speak or act. Um, I'm getting like a lot of hobbies too. Like there could be things that may not be like seen as awesome really to a lot of people, but to this person, or like to the dynamic, it's like there's an appreciation for having those little quirks. And with the Tower in the present, and then how to overcome the obstacle, you get the Sun. These are extreme times of change. And with the Tower, because it looks like a government building, this building again has been built and established, and the rules that they have, or laws that they have been passed on from generation to generation, and now it's up in the air, and there does seem to be a sense of question. I think one of the biggest things is like authenticity, and one of the like the deeper messages, and I was like debating on whether or not I would mention something like this. So it does like give way to like kind of scapegoat energy, and a lot of times when you're the scapegoat in the family, generally it kind of gives way to being like the realist in the family. And I think a lot of times other family members or people in general get annoyed or like angry at these scapegoat energies, because they place a mirror up and it reveals things that they don't want to come to terms with or want to see. It just reveals the truth of the matter, of like a lot of times like of their intentions and like of the heart. So it's not, it does feel like it's aggressive, almost like a scythe that just cuts through the the fields. Scythe. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's one of those pronunciations. But that tool. And even there's a bus on the tower card too. And I don't know how, if there's like those types of buses. Well, this is a Ukrainian deck, but like in America, there's the orange bus for the school buses. So it could be like the outside looking into, as I was saying, like reflection. And people really seeing these opportunities to grow in times like these. um a lot of times we tend to have to get out of those situations, and it can't be a struggle. I know one of the times, well, one of the things that one of my cousins was talking about when, um this was when my cousin was younger. In that family, there was a baby brother, and he was a baby, and he passed away. And at the time, with my cousin and their grandmother, and the grandmother went up to my cousin, and my cousin was like barely a teenager, if not like 12 or something, somewhere around that. There's like the range, but definitely younger, and maybe even younger than that. And the grandmother was like, it's not my fault, and blaming it on my cousin. And my cousin, is like a fucking kid. And she was like, it's your fault. And they wouldn't kick me out. Like like their grandmother lived with them. So it was my aunt's husband's mother. And so it was just like one of those things where it's like having that type of energy, and people just trying to attack it in a way. And there's definitely a lot of underlying things that go along with it too. And when I was saying like I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it, um because I was thinking there's in a way, the privacy of it, and um could be like the, again, privacy, confidentiality of it. At the same time, I was also thinking, um like with doing tarot readings, you bring things to the light, you reveal things, you give messages, and in those moments, you give reverence, and you give justice. And when, especially when a person or people could be suffering, maybe in silence, or maybe there's the exposure of the suffering, and there could be so much that can be done about it, could be done. And I think that that's one of the important things, that why I wanted to mention it, that once those barriers get broken down and things start to get questioned with the tower, with how things are functioning, because there seems to be something that doesn't function correctly, and it needs to be brought to the light, or it needs to be examined, because something could have fallen through the cracks, or there's something that's just not right with the system. And it goes to the Sun card, which is like considered the best card in the deck, and people don't really argue about it. There's that brightness, and there is usually like a child in like the Rider-Waite-Smith interpretation of it, or imagery, riding a horse, and it does have like that childlike wonder, and it's a special type of happiness that it really is held in a child, because they haven't seen, like, well, these days I'm sure a lot of children have seen darker days, but in general it's like that lightness that you get. And even when it does go into like a reverse position, Like the Sun card doesn't really get super reversed in a reading, and like the opposite meaning of it. So you have the Seven of Wands with the Three of Pentacles. I feel like that goes perfectly with this reading because it seems like there's a group effort, like with the Seven of Wands, and especially with the Three of Pentacles with the Seven of Wands, that you're not fighting alone. And as when people are going through these times, and even if the time has passed, it's being that person that goes into the darkness with them and not just like waiting for them outside of the door and trying to lead them in the direction that would be healing for them, and making sure that they're aware that I can walk in the darkness with you and you don't have to handle this by yourself. I was also in Philly. Hopefully well, I think that was like the main part of the message. So if this cuts off, well, that was the main part. But I was in Philly because I was thinking about it for a while, but I figured I would go today because it seemed like a decent day weather-wise to go in. Like, because when you're in the city and it gets windy, it's super windy. And it wasn't, I like cold weather, but it was definitely nice weather to walk in for me. And my godmother she bought me a hat because I drove her a couple places yesterday because her car is being used. But so I went to Philly and I bought some pastries from a bakery that I like, and I was giving it to the homeless. I got some for myself too, of course. And I got that tote, and it matches my other tote. Well, it goes with my other tote that I really, really love, that is stuffed with my bulky sweater. So the past, you have the Eight of Pentacles. So we're thinking about, which isn't bad, because there does seem like we're trying to take what we can from it. And it reminds me of the King of Cups, because the King of Cups is a card that has harvest, and this is like working the fields. As I was mentioning, it might seem selfish to some people, and I have been called selfish. I feel like growing up, what I did that I noticed, I feel like a lot of people gravitate towards like having like maybe a maternal nature, even though I'm not technically a mother in that way. But I would gather the maternal energy and give it to myself, like the maternal energy that I have in myself, and gave it to myself to keep myself going. And I felt like that was super important, and it gave me the strength. And also, this is kind of specific, but if you're with somebody or you're not with somebody, I think it's I mean, you can notice it too when in both, if you're in a good relationship and if you're not with somebody, that you just feel like you're rejuvenated. You feel like life is just turning back time because it feels nice. You're not feeling weighed down. And that's what I feel like is that Five of Pentacles energy, the struggle to like survive and needing to get yourself out of the situation. And I, again, giving myself maternal care because I didn't feel that maternal care growing up. And I was getting that other people felt it too, especially with, it wasn't necessarily children. Sometimes it was children, but it was like mainly older people that maybe didn't have that type of energy with them too. So the future is it's the Four of Swords. I'm sorry. There is a Seven of Swords. So I'll link it to this for the future. And I really feel like it's taking a breather because there was a lot to take in. The Seven of Swords, it can be like cramming. I remember when I first went to, it's gonna cut off soon. When I first went to college, I did my prerequisites in community college and then I transferred out. So when I first went to college, I would get like migraines, and I remember like the first week, sorry, TMI, I like spit like on the lawn, like it was like almost like throwing up on the lawn because of my migraine, because there was a lot of information that was being taken in, and it mainly happens when I'm surrounded by maybe like spirits or like energies that are kind of sicker. Like I was in my childhood home and I was trying to get out. Like I feel like my body was trying to get out too because of the man in the closet type of thing, if you know that story, the spirit. And it has happened rarely, but it has happened where it really affects um, how I'm feeling. Like if I feel a little nauseous or something, or a headache, especially headaches. And it's okay to rest and again to rejuvenate. I feel like that's an important thing too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you in another reading. Bye.